I don't know how to start this video. I think I'm a little bit delirious because I've just driven 5 hours and I'm now in the countryside of Galicia. It's crazy. I arrived, and the moment I arrived, a big storm came. It feels like almost like hurricane gale winds. Reminds me of the opening episode of The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy's house like blows away, or she thinks that it does. So I've come here just because literally no reason other than that I felt like I wanted to get away from Lisbon. You guys know how much I love Spain, which I have really to give you an update on as well, because the last video I think I talked about that I wanted to move to Spain, that I was over Portugal, and I have a lot to say about that, but I'm too tired to really get into that subject right now. I just basically wanted to create an intro to this video. I don't know how much I'm going to film over the next week basically, because I'm here in Galicia in the countryside near to Santiago de Compostela for 4 nights, and then I am driving to Asturias, to Gijón, for the birthday party of a friend of mine, and then from there I will be making my way back to Lisbon, but probably stopping 1 night in Salamanca. But I have to book that. I haven't done it yet. This was really like, I'm a very last minute, spur of the moment person, basically depending on what my inspiration is at that time. It's like I booked this maybe 4 nights ago, I think. Just was like, I'm feeling very stuck in my routine in Lisbon, and I'm very comfortable, I have to say, in that routine. Like, I feel kind of contented, but at the same time I just need like to break out of that, and I feel that life is about having experiences. And so as much as I would love to travel with someone, I don't have anybody to travel with right now except for Pedro, who's my road warrior buddy. He still gets car sick, but I've taken him to Spain a few times already. He's been to Sevilla, he's been to Asturias. Look at this, I have to show you. So this Airbnb, let me move the camera. It's focusing on me, so I don't know how this is gonna work, but this Airbnb has this beautiful fireplace. Basically, I really love being in the countryside. It makes me happy to be in nature, to be just away from everybody, from everything, and just be cozy. I'm really hungry because all I had was a sandwich on the way here at a gas station. But I have to say, actually, the gas stations in Portugal and in Europe, I think in general, my experience was really positive. In Italy as well, they're like gourmet. They have great food. It's not like a gas station in the United States where it's just Doritos and maybe some hot dogs if you're lucky. It's really good in Europe. Anyway, I'm gonna make dinner. I brought a can of lobster bisque from the specialty grocery store that I like in Lisbon the other day. And I'm just gonna be cozy tonight. I'm so happy to have a fireplace. And it feels even nicer to have a fireplace when you know the weather is really bad outside and you see the rain and the winds. Let me show you around a little bit. I want to keep the camera on the tripod, but I'm just going to move the camera. God, I'm really like out of it. I think part of the problem is that I'm really hungry and therefore I'm like low blood sugar. Look at how beautiful even this packaging is. I love this. This lobster bisque. I've never tried this before, and typically I cook everything from scratch myself. I'm not really like a canned food or prepared food kind of person, but I knew that when I got here after driving for 5 hours, I was going to be too exhausted to go grocery shopping or to do anything. So I'm just going to cook this. I also wanted to show you, I'm really excited to have this tomorrow morning, my coffee for breakfast. I had tried from this brand before. They make these very expensive coffee. This was 22 euros for this ground coffee, but it has all of this additional like superfood kind of stuff. This has lion's made bacopa, which I have no idea what that is, and L-theanine. I had bought this kind of a coffee from the same brand, like I said, right after my surgery, my rhinoplasty surgery, when I was in the countryside to recover for a week, and it was really delicious, and I think that it helped me. So I'm a big coffee person in general, and I feel like the gods were good to me as well, because I brought my mocha pot from Lisbon, but it's not an induction mocha pot. I found that out sadly on another trip that I had made, and lucky for me, they have an induction mocha pot as well, so I'll be able to have my coffee tomorrow. And the owner of this Airbnb, she actually owns a bakery, and so she left me some nice baked goods from her bakery, which I'll go and visit probably tomorrow as well when I do a grocery shop. So I'm just gonna get cozy tonight, make my lobster bisque, and I think watch the Celebrity UK Traders, which I've been watching, and that's it. And oh my god, there's a beautiful jacuzzi bathtub as well here, so I'm gonna enjoy that. Well, good morning on this very gray, rainy day today. It was actually quite lovely falling asleep to the sound of the wind and the rain, which has continued all night into the morning. I didn't sleep that well last night, I think just because it was a different bed, even though the bed itself was comfortable and it's so peaceful here. And sometimes it's interesting because I don't even mind that I can't sleep well, because in the nighttime I just really think about a lot of things about my life, and it's sort of my time to recalibrate who I am, what's important to me, what's going on, all of that. So, as you can see, the fire is already going, and I have the coffee, which is really lovely. I'm not fully awake yet, so that's why I'm rambling a bit. The plan today is to go to the grocery store and pick up just the basic necessities for the next few days, because I think that mostly I'll be cooking here, staying home. Though I did open Grindr just out of curiosity to see what's here in the countryside of Galicia. I mean, I'm only about 20 minutes away from Santiago de Compostela, which is apparently an actual city. I don't know how many people live there. But I have two interesting propositions, and people who wouldn't mind to come out to the country to keep me company. I just find that so funny that, you know, what a time we live in. You can be in the middle of nowhere, so to speak, and still, as a gay man, find people to keep you company when you're alone. So it's just very funny. Let me just talk about this grocery experience. So I've just come back from a grocery store that I had never heard of. It's called Gadis, which to me the name was very funny because in Bahasa Indonesia, Gadis is like a young girl. And I don't know why, but I guess maybe because it was that word in Indonesian, I assumed it was going to be like a really bad supermarket. Again, also because I'd never heard of it before. And I was so surprised because it ended up being almost like a gourmet shopping experience. They're specialized in local products from Galicia, and they had stuff that they don't even have in Lisbon. So it was actually a really good experience, and it was so close by, just like 6 minutes driving into the town of Negreira, I think it's called. And so I bought a bunch of stuff, though I just realized that there's not even an oven in this Airbnb, which I don't know how I didn't realize that yesterday. I just assumed that it was here because I've never stayed in a place that does not have an oven. So there's only a 2-range stovetop and a microwave, which it doesn't, I think, ruin my plans, but just means, like, for example, this sweet potato I guess I'll make in the microwave. And I was excited to make some patatas bravas because I bought patatas and the, like, where is it? And this mojo picon salsa, which is I think what you use for the patatas bravas. But I don't know how to make this in a pan. I only know how to make this roasted, or rather, like, is it roasting if you put it in the oven? You know, like on a tray with olive oil and salt and all of that. So I'm gonna have to figure out, I think you can still put them on the sartén and make them that way, but I just don't really know. So again, that's a question for ChatGPT, my best friend. I just bought a lot of stuff. Basically, I spent 70 euros. Though half of that was on alcohol. Like, for example, this I bought just because it's a local product from here, so I want to take this back to Lisbon and put in my little bar. This is, I've never heard of this, Abadia da Cova, Licor Café de Galicia. This is like a coffee, let me see, where was the notes here? Toffee, coffee, and caramel flavored liqueur. I guess kind of like a frangelico. And I just want to have this at home. I think, like, if I make a tiramisu, I may use that. So I just bought a bunch of stuff, like, for lunch. I bought 2 boxes of sardines. I bought a baguette. And for dinners, I bought this beautiful pasta. Look at this. Like, this I can't even find in Auchan in Lisbon, though I know that I've seen it other places, but like really nice, beautiful big pasta from Italy. I bought that for dinner. I bought 2 chicken breasts, which is down here. So I think that the chicken breast I'll make with the side of asparagus, and I also bought something else to make as a side. Oh yeah, the sweet potato. What else do I have? And champiñones. So yeah, that's another side. I bought 2 bottles of Rioja. I love Spanish Rioja. I don't even know. I'm not a big drinker in general. So typically if I open up a bottle of wine, that can last me like a week. But I don't know. I'll take a bottle home if I don't finish it here. I also bought saffron because it's so expensive in all the places that I've seen it in Lisbon, and here it was really cheap. I think because it actually comes a lot of the time from Spain. Like, this one is a product of Spain. And like, also it was really interesting that the prices in this supermarket for alcohol were way less than in Lisbon. So for example, they have this Japanese gin. I forget the name. It's like Roku or something. And in Lisbon, I've seen it for at least 40 euros, and in this grocery store it was only 25 euros. So yeah, it's quite interesting though. Like, I don't know why there's such a price disparity for 2 EU countries. Like, it doesn't make sense because it's the same, pretty much the same import duty. So yeah, I don't know why. But I think that tends to be the case, that a lot of things in Spain are less expensive than in Portugal. And that brings me to the point also that I want to say of, you know, I love Spain so much. I mean, hence why I'm here. And like I had talked about in the previous video, and I briefly discussed in the intro, though I don't know if I'm going to use that intro part. I was planning to move to Spain. I'm not in love with Portugal by any means, but when I started the process and looked into what the tax situation was in Spain for autónomos, which is what I am as a self-employed business owner, it's just insane. They tax you on the worldwide income at very high rates, and it's just not possible for me to live in Spain under that tax regime. So it's really disappointing because I truly love Spanish culture, and even, I just had the epiphany that while I was driving home from this grocery store that I could really be happy in this kind of more countryside village life. I don't need to be in a city. I don't even necessarily want to be in a city other than to just meet people. But, I think that, for example, here in Spain, I feel you have so many rural communities that are not that far from a city, and they're really nice. Like, again, I'm so surprised that just a 6-minute drive, I was at a grocery store that had all of this kind of gourmet food. That wouldn't be the case in Portugal. And, the fact that, for example, here, I'm only about 20 minutes away driving from Santiago, which is the actual city that has a major airport, or not a major, but like an airport that's decent, I guess. And, being on Grindr today, like, there were a couple people that I'm talking to that live in Santiago. Like, I could imagine myself, basically is what I'm saying, in this lifestyle, and I don't think that I would be as isolated as I fear. And it just appeals to me more that, I'm in nature, and it's peaceful and it's beautiful, and I'm looking out right now onto trees and the countryside, and it's quiet, and I love to drive. I like being in a car. I like getting in the car to go and do what I need to do. And again, in Lisbon, that's just a nightmare. So, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how I can set up my life basically to just be in the kinds of places that I want to be, I think it's possible to spend up to 6 months in Spain and not be a fiscal resident here. I really just have to think about how to plan everything, but those are my thoughts right now. So I'm going to finish unpacking the groceries, put them away. I'm going to make myself some lunch. I think just a simple sardines on the baguette. I have to figure out how to do the potatoes. But anyway, that's all for now. I'm interrupting my lunch and music session just to pass this note to you, which is that I think the true luxury of life is having peace in your life and eating well, and these like simple joys like this are just worth all the money in the world. I think I would much rather have this really homey, delicious, nutritious meal that I prepared for myself than like a 5-star Michelin experience nowadays, because I've had those before, and you know what, I think I eat better when I make the food myself than when some like chef makes some absurd dish which is far more conceptual than delicious. And I feel it's the same, like, for example, with art nowadays. I hate modern art. It's all about concept instead of beauty. And again, this for me is beauty. I just picked a grape off of here to eat, and I have to say, I think it was maybe the best tasting grape I've ever had in my life. Kind of like a sour, but delicious, like so different from a supermarket grape. I don't know if this is a different variety or what, but so good. And look at this, just like randomly grapes growing here on the vine in Galicia, on the dog walk. This is the life that I want to be living all the time. Well, it's time for dinner now. I'm really feeling quite good. I just came back from Santiago. I hooked up with a local Gallego that I've been talking to pretty much all day on Grindr. And I wasn't necessarily planning to go into Santiago today because it's been raining all day. I thought I'd just continue to enjoy the beautiful sound of the rain here in the countryside. But then I said to myself, you know, I'm still young. People still want to have sex with me. It seems like a good way to spend the afternoon. I'm really glad that I went there because I had a great time. So for dinner, I made this paprika spiced chicken breast with a side of mushrooms. There's just like not a lot of spices that were already here. Actually, there was only salt. There's not even pepper. I didn't realize that until after. So I've used the same spices for both, which was fresh garlic that I minced, and then just the salt and paprika and some olive oil. But I have to say, wow. Damn, it's really flavorful. It's surprising what you can do on a two range burner here. See the chicken? Chicken is also quite tasty. Wow, super simple, but just really good. So the chicken breast I sliced in half. I think what it's called when you butterfly it. Makes it easier to cook through on the stovetop. So you get thin slices like this. And I'm just really feeling happy. I've got the fireplace burning here. I'm gonna take another jacuzzi bath again tonight. Read my book. Good morning. It's my last full day here in Galicia, and last night has been kind of the pattern for the last few nights. I keep waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and it takes me a couple hours to fall back asleep. So right now I just had coffee, but I'm still not like 100% lucid. But I was thinking in my state of insomnia again about my situation of where I should be living in all of this, and thinking about, well, what are the benefits to me of living in Lisbon, or why am I living in Lisbon? And I could not come up with a single reason of why I'm in Lisbon, in the sense of like there's nothing that I really love about living in Lisbon, and there's no like really positive thing for me other than in general again about the tax situation in Portugal. And so just out of curiosity this morning, as I'm sitting here, you know, with the computer, I'm on Idealista España, just seeing like out of curiosity in Galicia, in around A Coruña and around where I am now in Santiago de Compostela, what's available in like a less price point than what I'm paying to live in Lisbon. So I put in the search parameters for looking for a house, not an apartment, up to 1,500 euros a month, long-term residential, and more than one bedroom. And so I just found this one listing that I'm looking at right now, and it's very close to where I'm staying, basically, probably like a 10-minute drive away, but even closer to Santiago de Compostela, like just right outside the city. But it's fully in the countryside. It has like beautiful land, nobody else around, and for 1,500 euros a month I could be living in a 3-bedroom estate that is 432 square meters instead of a 2-bedroom apartment in Lisbon that is, I think, around like 80 square meters. And this place is actually beautiful. I mean, it's huge. It has like these gorgeous wooden, almost like parquet ceilings. I mean, it looks really like a small chateau. A gigantic kitchen. It's a stone house, like beautiful land around it. And, you know, this is much more the lifestyle that I want to be living in. The only reason, to be frank, that I haven't already chosen that lifestyle is because I felt like I would be really isolated and I would, not have a chance to meet anybody. But what I've realized in the last couple days here, again, this is why I think like Grindr is so important as a gay man. Like there's actually a lot of attractive, or at least to me, like sexy people that I would be interested in around this area. And in that house, for example, I'm only probably a 5-minute drive away from Santiago de Compostela, like the city, and maybe about an hour away from A Coruña, another larger city. So it feels like there's truly no reason for me to just stay in Lisbon, like just because of inertia, when I'm not getting anything out of it. Like for me, dating in Lisbon for the last year has not been good. Yes, I've met people, but I don't think that it's outweighs like all the things that I don't like about Lisbon or Portugal in general. I just feel much more like I belong here in Spain. The culture really just speaks to me, and I love it. And I'm mostly, really attracted to just being in nature. I love the fact that I'm sitting here in this serene quiet and looking out onto trees and countryside. And as I've said before, like I really like driving, so that doesn't bother me at all. I would prefer to get in a car, to leave my house, to go places, to go shopping and whatever, than to be in the center of the city. And like every time I leave my house, I'm immediately bombarded by other people's energy. It's exhausting for me because I'm a very introverted person, and I just don't want to be around people all the time. And like Lisbon especially, it's just full of tourists, and it's not the right vibe for me. Again, like I'm not truly wanting to go through the whole bureaucratic process of having to apply for the Spanish digital nomad visa. It's doable, okay? Like it's definitely doable. It's just a pain in the butt. A lot of documents, they all have to be translated. They all have to be apostilled. Like, I don't want to have to go through that process again. But I don't know, is it worth it? Like, should I just do it, or should I stick it out in Portugal for another few years until I can become at least a permanent resident in Portugal? And then I feel like once I'm a permanent resident there, it's easier to just kind of move around Europe. So I don't know. I really do need to make a decision, I think, this month about what my direction is, because, again, my visa is up for renewal in December. My lease is up at December. Like I'm going to be moving no matter what from my apartment, because I just don't want to be there anymore. So the question is, where do I move? But it's quite interesting to be looking at this and seeing, what I could get for that amount of money here in the beautiful countryside of northern Spain. And I mean, the price difference, for example, if I'm saving 400 or 500 euros a month that I'm not paying in exorbitant rent to live in Lisbon, that probably is what my tax payment would be here in Spain. So these are really things that are interesting to think about. The only other thing I would say about the situation with Spain and taxes is that as a self-employed person, it's really annoying the amount of like bureaucracy that's involved in that as well. You have to hire what's called a gestor, like someone, I guess, the kind of like an accountant, who files quarterly taxes for you. And it's just like a big pain in the butt for me because my business is very seasonal. So there are months when I'm not making a lot of money and like cash flow is tight, and then to just kind of have to deal with that is an added stress. I don't know, like the thing is you have to weigh all of these different factors. And to be honest, like I'm so exhausted with having to think about these big picture life questions by myself, that I don't have any support or a partner that kind of can help me carry the burden of these things.